Amy Dove, the Keto Queen. I hope you're having a great day, a great week actually. It's Thursday. I missed you guys last night, and look, I've had so many people asking me questions about sweets. They're like, Amy, do you ever cook sweets? I'm still craving sweets. What am I supposed to do for sweets? Is it bad to have sweets? And all the answers are, you are perfectly fine to have sweets on keto. So let me tell you guys, in the very beginning, when I first started this lifestyle transition, I had a sweet treat every single night. I did. You can ask Ricky. He'll tell you the truth. I had a dessert every single night, and I'm fixing to show you what that dessert was. And I literally had it every night until one day we were laying in bed, and Ricky said, you're not going to go make your dessert? And I was like, eh. And from that moment on, I was completely hooked to keto because I have never, ever, ever felt so in control, in charge of food when I, Amy Dove, a food addict, did not want any chocolate. So guys, I love to eat sweet treats, but let me tell you, this is a very rare occasion for me now, except for when I'm stressed. When I'm stressed, I still go to sweets, but I make sure it's a keto sweet treat. But now I have to definitely have this as a true once in a while date night dessert. So I labeled this video date night dessert because that's when I have it now. Once you're at that maintenance phase, you can't just eat all the treats you want, even if they're keto friendly. But when you're first starting, guys, you're still gonna crave. You're still gonna crave food until you get past that at least the first month, sometimes even longer than that because we're all a little different. So anyway, I wanna show you a really easy, delicious, single serve dessert. Now, some of my friends actually make this and then half it with their spouse. I'm like, what? And I eat this whole thing when I used to cook it all the time. But if you want to share it, you can. But the thing I like about this, which is a mug cake, is that you can actually fix it individually. So you're not making a pan of brownies or a cake that you have to really argue with your mind. You have to argue with your mind to only have one piece. There's only one serving. So once it's gone, and then you got to cook another one the next day. So I like single serve desserts. So guys, I am not cooking dinner tonight. My daughter is working and my husband has something to do, so I am going to hang out the house all by my lonesome, and I'm going to answer questions because I've gotten so behind on my page this week, and I am going to fix and put my pajamas on and just be lazy. So instead of cooking a big dinner or a dinner, I decided to show you guys a sweet treat. So if you love mug cakes, give me some hearts. If you love a chocolate mug cake, make sure you pay attention and listen in to this simple, delicious, easy dessert. And I am going to, okay, I don't see him yet. I apologize, guys, if there's somebody hassling you. I don't see an Alfred yet, but I will definitely get him blocked as soon as I see his messages. So anyway, easy, delicious dessert. So, all right. Oh my goodness. Denise had the creamy bacon Brussels sprouts. Yes, they're so delicious. Oh, I see now. Here we go. Alfred Powell. I see you now. I see you, Alfred. You blocked Alfred. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to show you the ingredients I'm going to use, and I'm going to make sure that you know how to count your carb counts because everyone asks when I'm eating sweet treats, how many carbs can I have? Guys, there is no right or wrong answer. It just depends on your goals. Keto is 25 or less net carbs per day. Low carb is 50 to 150. So if you're trying to create ketones, if you're trying to live a keto lifestyle, then you want to keep your carb counts at 25 net or less per day. So if you haven't had any all day, why does it matter how many is in your dessert if that's all you're having? If you've only had one meal today, you should know how many carbs were in that meal. If you've had 3 meals today, you should know how many carbs were in those meals. But it's not to say you can only have 5 at lunch and 5 at dinner and 5 here and 5 there. You just have to know how many carbs you're having in your day's time. So if your keto is 25 or net less per day, low carb is 50 to 150. So there is that first. So I'm going to show you some ingredients I'm going to use and some options that you actually have to use. And let's go ahead and start our cake. So we're making a chocolate mug cake, and we're starting off with a tablespoon of melted butter. So I love these little ramekins. This is what I use for my mug cakes. If you want to use a mug, you can use a mug. Let me show you an example of one you might want to use. Let's see, I know I got some big mugs in here somewhere. All right. This is one of my, I love this mug. I used to drink out of it all the time. This is one of my Starbucks mugs. It's a big fat mug. You can use a mug. You can use a ramekin. You can use a microwave safe bowl. It's called a mug cake for a reason because you can make it in a mug. So whether it's, if you're gonna use a mug, I'd suggest you use one that's round, not tall and skinny, because it'll cook faster if you have a round. This is a ramekin. They have all sizes. This one I think was a 16. It don't say it on here, but I think it was a 16-inch, and I got this at Target. I was really having a hard time finding ramekins when I first started, and I heard everybody talking about ramekins. I'm like, what the heck is a ramekin? So I finally Googled it myself, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go find me one. So I got this at Kroger. We've got 1 tablespoon of melted butter. We're gonna add 1 egg. Again, this is a single serve, or you can share it with someone if you want to, but I like to eat the whole thing all by myself. All right, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of melted butter. This is some of our wet ingredients. We've got a capful of vanilla extract. You can use any kind of seasoning you want. So if you want a lemon cake, you can use a lemon cake. If you want a chocolate cake, you can make a chocolate cake. If you want a strawberry cake, you can make a strawberry cake. You actually can put fruit in these cakes. But I'm doing my simple tried and true chocolate. Love chocolate. All right, so I got a capful or a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We have an egg, we have melted butter, and we're gonna go ahead and put in a tablespoon. Actually, I'm gonna hold this to the end. I'm gonna tell you why. We are gonna use one more wet ingredient, and that is heavy cream. And I've got my tablespoon out. I personally like to put my heavy cream on top because the only thing I don't like about these is mixing that powder because there's some powder involved. So we're gonna go ahead and put in our almond flour. So far, no carbs, right? We got an egg, we've got butter, we've got vanilla extract. Now, some people do count eggs. If you wanna count your egg, it's a carb, okay? Some people don't count eggs. If you want to, go ahead, it doesn't matter. There's very few carbs in this recipe. Now, I'm using Blue Diamond blanched almond flour. I like almond flour for this recipe. I like blanched almond flour. What that means is it's super fine. I like super fine almond flour. Primarily, I buy Great Value, so Walmart brand, but this one is Blue Diamond. I'm gonna show you the package and show you how to read the ingredients here for the carb count. So again, it's Blue Diamond. I got this, actually a friend gave this to me, but it came from a Sam's. So I like Blue Diamond, it's very good. Let's read the back side though. So Blue Diamond says, Blue Diamond says a 1/4 cup is serving. So 4th cup is a serving size. I'm using 2 tablespoons. So there's 4 tablespoons in a 4th cup. So 2 tablespoons. So I'm using half the serving, okay? So you have to know how many carbs are in your cake. So you have to know how many servings. Now this says that there's 5 total carbs and there's 3 fibers. So we're going to subtract the fiber from the carbs. So there is 2 carbs in a 4th cup. Okay, hope I'm making sense. And I'm not great at math, but I've got 2 carbs in a 4th cup, but I'm only using half that, right? I'm using 2 tablespoons. So how many carbs is that so far? I think I'm hitting my lights. I think I'm gonna break something tonight. How many carbs is that so far if I'm using 2 tablespoons of almond flour with this bag? I wrote down 1. Hopefully that's right. It's either 1 or 2. So 2 tablespoons of almond flour, all right? And then, of course, we're using chocolate, right? It's a chocolate mug cake. There's all different types of chocolate options out there that are good and low carb. I personally love the Ghirardelli cacao. So yummy. I bought this last time, and I thought it was good. And the only reason I bought it is, if you will notice, guys, it is from the same brand who makes the delicious mayonnaise that I love, Better Body Foods. So I thought, oh, well, I need to try Better Body Foods because I love their mayonnaise. So why not try the cacao powder? So that's why I bought this. It's the only reason I bought this. Okay, so let's check out the backside. This one tells us that there's 1 tablespoon, right? 1 tablespoon's a serving. There's 3 carbs, 2 fibers. What does that mean? It means 1 net carb. 1 net carb per tablespoon. 1 net carb per tablespoon. Y'all understand that? Is everybody giving me hearts? Make sure that you know how to read your packages and to count your carbs, because that's what it's important. So there was 1 carb in every tablespoon. I'm personally liking mine pretty chocolatey, so I'm doing 2 tablespoons. So that's 2 carbs. So far, we have 2 carbs in the chocolate, and we have 1 carb in the flour. So we have 3 carbs so far in our dessert. 1, 2 hefty tablespoons. All right, so we got our chocolate, we got our almond flour. We have to have some sweetener, right? It's a dessert. It's a dessert, right? So I personally love confectioners. I really enjoy confectioners when I'm making a sweet treat. There are a lot of different keto-friendly sweeteners out there. Today, I'm using one called Pure. I'm gonna show it to you. And the only reason I'm using this one is because my mom gave it to me. and it's already opened. So I'm using this instead of what I normally would use. I used to buy this one a long time ago myself, but I found that I'm getting it cheaper in another brand. So this is Pure. I'm going to show it to you. So Pure Confectioner. It says right there it's powdered stevia sweetener. It says it's Pure, P-Y-U-R-E. I like this one. Ricky says it gives a little aftertaste, so I quit buying it because Ricky is very picky. But this one says a half a teaspoon is a serving. There's 2 carbs, 2 erythritols, which is the keto-friendly sweetener. And you can subtract sugar alcohols from carbs. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused. They're like, well, Amy, I don't see where it says sugar alcohols. There's no sugar alcohols on there. And I'm like, well, you're right. It doesn't say sugar alcohols. But if you're keto, we know that erythritol is keto-friendly sugar alcohols. So you can subtract this out to 0 net carbs. Now, if we were using like 5 cups of this, I'd be hesitant. I'd be like, it might be 0 net carbs, but 5 cups of sweetener just doesn't sound healthy, right? Doesn't sound good. But you can 0 net out your keto-friendly sweeteners like monk fruit, swerve, Pure, xylitol, erythritol, Truvia made with stevia leaf. I mean, there's so many options for keto-friendly sweeteners. If you'll Google yourself, if you don't have a list already, Google keto-friendly sweeteners and you'll see some options. I personally like Swerve Confectioner. I like monk fruit. I love erythritol. I mean, I like them all. There's not very many I don't like. My husband, on the other hand, is very picky when it comes to those sweeteners. And he says that this one, for him, gives him the aftertaste. So that's why we leave it out. All right, so far, we've got our almond flour that had 1 carb. We had our chocolate that had 2 carbs. And we have 1 melted tablespoon of butter, an egg, 2 tablespoons of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of cacao powder. We put in a capful of vanilla. Now, let's go ahead and add in our next dry ingredient, which is baking powder. I do need to have some baking powder, and I forgot to get out my old teaspoon. So we're going to do a half a teaspoon of baking powder, just a half a teaspoon, just to help it rise a little bit. Don't have to have it. If you don't want baking powder, don't put it in there. It's not going to be the end of the world if you leave it out. All right, we're almost done. We're going to do 1 cup of tablespoon. You're basically putting pretty much even amounts of ingredients. I'm actually going to do 2 tablespoons. You know why? Because I use 2 tablespoons of chocolate. So a thing I love about mug cakes is you honestly can put anything you want to in here. You can put some peanut butter in here. You can do anything you want to as long as you know what carbs are going into this ramekin. As soon as you know how many carbs you're eating, you can actually do more heavy cream if you want it creamier, if you want it softer, if you want like a soft mug cake. You could half cook it and put some chips in the middle and have like a little lava cake. Yes, you can. So many options. So that's what I'm fixing to do. I want to show you another option. You could always add pecans. You could always add almonds. You could add unsweet coconut chips. So many things you can do to a chocolate mug cake or any kind of mug cake. My husband loves fruit. So when I make his, I do just a little bit of vanilla extract or lemon extract. And I'll cut up some berries in there, like some strawberries or blueberries. And he's like, oh my gosh, he thinks he's died and gone to heaven. And all it is a little bitty cup of butter, eggs, almond flour. They're the easiest things to make. So this recipe is going to be in the post for you guys. I see someone asking about the sweetener. You really need to play with it. I use 2 tablespoons myself, only because I know this sweetener, and you really can play with it. So make your first one. If it doesn't taste sweet, put your finger in there. If it doesn't taste sweet enough, add some more. No problem. If it's too sweet, then you know you put too much. So a little bit at a time, taste it, do a little taste test, cook it. This is something you can play with and build upon. My very first one, I thought, it's pretty good. And then the next time I put a little extra sweetener, I was like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. And then I just fell in love with mug cakes. Okay, so we have 1 egg, we have 1 tablespoon of melted butter, the cap of vanilla. I used 2 tablespoons of almond flour, 2 tablespoons of cacao powder. We used a half teaspoon of baking powder. We used 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. I am gonna put in a little chips. So far in our ingredients, we only have the 1 carb from my almond flour, 2 carbs from my cacao powder, the one I'm using, and then the chips. So let's look at these chips. Everybody talks about Lilly's chips, which are amazing, but look at these. These are called Bake Believe. Isn't that the cutest brand name ever? I mean, I fell in love with this product just because of the name. I love clever names. It's called Bake Believe. Like, you cannot believe these are sugar-free chips and they taste amazing. So it's called Bake Believe. And this one, unlike Lily's, actually tells you a serving size. It says 2 tablespoons. So, I'm sorry, 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon has 9 carbs, 5 fibers, and 3 erythritols, again, which is sugar alcohols. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, because we can subtract our sugar alcohols, not sugar alcohols. So 5, 6, 7, 8 minus 9 is 1 net carb per tablespoon. 1 net carb per tablespoon. Guys, how awesome is that? So now my mug cake, this entire cake, has 2, 3, 4 carbs. Tell me how much better you can get than that. That's pretty awesome, right? So what I'm going to do before I put my chips in is I'm going to go ahead and mix this up. This is the tricky part. You got a little short ramekin and a lot of powder. So I usually make a mess. I always like to put my heavy cream in last. I told you there's a trick to that because it kind of dampens the top layer of the powder, but you'll see it start flying everywhere if you go too fast with this. So this is the thing. You really got to take your time mixing it unless you put it in a big bowl and then pour it into your ramekin. Now, if you want to, you can spray your ramekin or your mug cake if you want to, but we did put a tablespoon of melted butter in there. Now, if your goal is to cook it in the ramekin and then pop it out on a pretty little plate, you might want to spray it because it may stick a little bit. But I'm going to eat mine right out of this ramekin. And oh my gosh, guys, look how beautiful this is. I mean, it looks like a fudge cake. Now, if you don't like it extra chocolatey, you could have just used 1 tablespoon of your chocolate powder. I'm using cacao, and I will show you all of these ingredients individually again in just a second. But just mix it up pretty good. Ooh, it looks so good. It smells good. It smells like chocolate brownies. Yum. Look how pretty it is. I mean, that looks pretty awesome. Okay. Whoops, sorry. All right, so I got it mixed up pretty good. I don't see any hunks of flour. Now, if you want to do your taste test, it does have an egg in it, but guys, it ain't going to kill you. It's good, but I'm going to be very honest. Needs more sugar. That's why I like my taste test. So I'm going to do a little bit more sweetener. And the reason I need more sweetener in this is because I'm fixing to put dark chocolate chips in it, which you know are not sweet, right? Dark chocolate is more bitter. So I definitely want a little bit more sweetness in there. Now you can overload that sweetener, so be great. Don't be careful with it. Don't go crazy. And let's mix again. So guys, if you love mug cakes, make sure you put your favorite recipe in the comments so that other people can see and share. I do not fix desserts very often at all. I'm in maintenance phase. It doesn't mean I can't have them, but I definitely don't want to make a habit of eating them. Because that maintenance phase of keto, just like any other lifestyle, you have to maintain, right? If you eat anything you want to just because keto, that's not good. Yum. Okay. Last ingredient. I'm going to do 1 tablespoon, which is 1 carb, of chips. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put them right in the center. Right in the center. So that when I cook this, I'm going to have a little bit of melted chocolate right in the center. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I usually stir them up in there, and I was just thinking about that a while ago. That'd be an awesome little mug cake, right? Or a lava cake, maybe? Ooh, yes. And I'm going to push them down in there just a little bit. Yes, yes. Last thing, guess what? We're going to take this beautiful cake. I know you can't see very well. Let's see. This beautiful cake, we're going to put it in the microwave. Fast, easy. And I usually put it in there for 90 seconds. Clear. Maybe. 90 seconds, so it's a minute and a half. And let me show you these ingredients one last time while we're doing that. So you can use any kind of almond flour you like. I love extra fine almond flour. So if you look for a blanched almond flour, that just means it's really fine ground. This one is Blue Diamond. I'm gonna turn this around again just so you can see it. You can get this at Sam's. I usually just use Walmart brand. This was given to me by a friend. But Walmart blanched almond flour is what I usually buy. It has the same carb count, so I like this one because it's low in carbs. Now let me tell you guys, if you're not looking at the back of your nutritional values, you can buy an almond flour that has 9 carbs. Just because it's almond flour does not mean it's low carb. So make sure you are reading your ingredients and your nutritional values. You want to get the lowest carb counts in all the ingredients you're looking for. Almond flour is not equal. There's lots of different brands and some of them have a whole lot higher carbs. Okay, and then we also are using Better Body Foods cacao powder. I got this at Walmart myself. I personally love Ghirardelli's coco, but this is just a Better Body brand or Better Body Foods cacao powder. It had 1 net carb in a tablespoon, so that's pretty awesome, right? I love that. And then tonight, I'm personally using this sweetener. There are a lot of keto-friendly sweeteners, but I'm using Pure. It's just one of the keto-friendly because it's a stevia blend. It's made with stevia leaf. All right. And then, of course, we have our Bake Believe chips. 1 carb in a tablespoon. All right. Somebody said, do I keep my almond flour in the refrigerator? The answer is no. I keep it in the pantry. I'm not sure where that's coming from, because I've had a few people ask me. Oh, that's hot. I've had a few people ask me that, so I don't know if someone's recommending it go in the refrigerator, but I've always kept mine in the pantry the whole 4 years, almost 4 years I've been keto. Oh, my phone's about to die. All right. Look how beautiful this is. Can you guys see that? It's so hot. I want to show it to you, but it's really, really hot. It is beautiful. And it looks spongy. So let me tell you the secret. The more heavy cream, the creamier or the moister it is. I know a lot of people don't like that word moist, but it is, it's moist. So the more heavy cream, the spongier it is. If you don't want it to be spongy, less heavy cream. That's the secret. If you don't like the sponge, less heavy cream, but I can tell you it's gonna taste, ow, delicious. Gosh, it's hot. It's gonna taste absolutely delicious. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys love mug cakes. If you don't, this is one thing you're missing out on because there's so many options. This is just one option, but you can do fruit with berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. My husband loves fruit in his mug cakes. You can do peanut butter. You can do so many things. You can do maple, all kinds of awesome things you can do with the mug cake, and it's single serve. Single serve, so you're not gonna overdo it. And we just went through all of these ingredients, and this cake right here has 2, 3, 4 net carbs. So that's pretty awesome for a sweet treat to have 4 net carbs, and we know all the ingredients that went in there. There's nothing in here that we can't read. If you look at all the ingredients of all these things, you can read it, and that's important for me. Oh, somebody says, is this your job? Karen, I'm not sure. What do you mean, is this my job? I'm a mom, and I'm a wife, and I'm a business owner, and Lord mercy, I'm crazy most days, to be quite honest, but I do not have fun on the phone as a full-time job. I wish I did. But I actually run a business with my family, and I love to help people with their health journeys on the side. So every single day I try to come home and I try to cook you guys recipes or share encouraging words or, do whatever I can to help you guys along your way. I'm not sure if that's the question you're asking me, but I'd love for you to follow up or send me a personal message if you have any questions or if you need any help, guys. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to jump off here and eat this bad boy. It's too hot right this second, but I'm going to let it cool off, and I've got to get busy answering some questions so then I can actually be lazy tonight. I have a house all to myself. Other than the puppy dogs, no one is here. It's very rare. All right, guys. Love you and talk to you later. Bye.